Fans are pretty diehard.
Oh, what? What's up?
What's going on?
You live?
We are.
What's going on, everybody?
Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for
Dude,
Yeah.
so excited you're here. For real.
Excited to be here.
The sound check sounded, oh God, scary good. oh God, I can't wait till we go live. So I have nothing planned for this hangout. I'll ask, but I guess I should ask some questions first before we get to the bands and stuff. Let's see, I'll selfishly ask questions, as I think a producer would. I want to know what's coming up new creatively. I want to know where things are at with any new tunes or any future plans of material.
Yeah.
We're
Sitting on a lot.
we're working on a new record at the moment, and we're all fairly stoked with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm very stoked.
Yeah, we've been writing for probably 4 months, 5 months, something. Obviously, some ideas are from previous records and stuff like that. That you know, we're in the early stages when we had to commit to the records. So there's some old stuff,
Right.
And then obviously the last like 4 months or so, we've been focused on writing. Been working on this tour as well, writing, and then yeah, hopefully maybe by the end of the year we'll have something. Maybe 2021, but yeah.
Did you have any thought, like conceptually, you know, having to go into a whole new body of work? Did you have? I always ask this. Do you have any conceptual concept thoughts? Like, okay, this time we want it to be more, whatever, more groove, focus on this groove, or themes like this, or ambient themes like. Were there any thematic concepts that you thought to yourself?
Yeah,
apply?
I think they're still evolving a bit too. But after, I think pretty much immediately the second you get out of the studio on the previous record, you're already like, man, I wish we would have done this, or I wish we would have done that. And
Sure,
you kinda put it
everyone
up-
says that.
Yeah, you kind of chalk it up on the board of what you're going to try
Yeah.
to do next time. And you know, we're always trying to occupy a new space of sound, so to speak. So yeah, there's a lot of that, whether it be trying to be more aggressive, whether it be in a rock sense or a metal sense, more ambient, just always trying to push the extremes.
I would
But
say
you didn't tell me anything specific.
Yeah, well, that's the trick. Trying to stay vague because we don't have anything overly specific yet.
It takes too much work to even commit to that to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if we say something here, who knows?
Yeah, we don't want people to hold us to it. Well, like language is kind of it's like a story based in metaphor. Clairvoyance more of a realistic conversation between people.
Nice.
And this album will be different than those. Whether you know, whether it's more focused on current events or something personal happening, or maybe it'll be anthology of a bunch of different things. A collection of ideas.
I think with every record that we've done, we're getting better and better at writing songs for everybody, because there's everybody out there, there's a song for them. I think we're kind of just being able to cater to that and write all sorts of songs rather than just, what is our sound? What is our sound? It's like, now we've already answered those questions. And now we can focus solely on everyone else and songwriting, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about Contortionist is the mixture of your vocals. Your sung voice is just epic and powerful and beautifully melodic, and then you can be super dangerous the next second. That's super special for me as a music lover.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's really fun in the live show because you can kind of keep the crowd guessing which direction it's going to sway. Keep them uneasy, especially crowds that have never seen us before. It's kind of fun, so.
Like your Smashing Pumpkins cover. I mean, man, do I prefer your voice over Billy Corgan.
Shots fired.
Right.
Sorry, he didn't mean
Sorry,
it.
Billy. You're just a little nasally for my liking. I like, my man Mike just a little richer here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. It's an honor because you've worked on some of my favorite records.
Thanks,
so.
bro. Thanks.
Everything from King Crimson to Lamb of God to, my personal favorite Every Time I Die record that they ever put out.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a big step up for Keith in terms of
Yeah.
like where he had
Vocals,
come from, and like it was a big departure from where he went.
Sure.
And it was amazing.
That was awesome. Yeah, my experience with Keith was top notch. Yeah, always. It's great. I love recording everything, but there's a very special thing I have with vocalists, I think.
Yeah.
Trust in I do it real close. There's no separation. There's no separate rooms. It's a lot like a boxer and a coach on ringside.
Yeah.
Sort of,
right
you
in
know,
there, yeah.
is my vocal recording producer style. Kind
Yeah.
of. And everyone loves it.
Let's get it on record right now. He's going to work on a record with us.
Oh, wow.
He said it right here. That's what we're building up for.
Sick. Dude. Do we have questions coming in from peeps?
Boy, do we.
Oh, nice.
So, Clemens Audio is actually my friend Grant Clemens.
What's up, Grant?
He said, which band member in the band would be best at a game of Twister?
Who does yoga?
I'm pretty limber. Jordan would be the worst. He can't even like get past his knees when he's reaching.
Yeah, I can't touch my toes at all. I'm like a foot away from those, so I would vote Cam, honestly.
Yep. I was gonna say
Do you do yoga?
myself, no contest. But I was waiting for that.
I don't know. I can palm the floor straight down. So I don't know.
Cam walks around on all fours.
Cam would say-
On all
Spend
more
fours
time
for
on all
fun,
fours, yeah.
Cam would
Crawls
answer
around his
himself for
knees.
any question though. So.
Nice.
Well, I mean, no love for Jordan and the flexibility, but Jeff Dickin asked, what shampoo does Jordan use to keep that mane so luscious?
Damn. Truly, it's a mix of whatever I can get my hands on, at least on tour.
The body wash left over in the venue.
Yeah, no, I don't even know what I'm using right now. Sorry. Yeah, got no answer for that one.
Too bad.
I like Paul Mitchell leave-in conditioner personally. Just saying.
There you go.
Head, shoulders, pretty sick.
Anything with tea tree oils, I love
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
That was our chance for a sponsor, Jordan. You blew it.
Pantene.
Yeah.
Alright, Engen asked, I wonder if any of the guys in the band are interested in philosophy/philosophers. The center feels like it draws inspiration from Sartre. Also, Godspeed feels like it refers to Dante's Beatrice.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, everything from like Alan Watts to Nietzsche to even like Carl Jung and stuff like that. There's tons of influence from philosophers and everything in between. It draws from movies to music to whatever is interesting to us, we kind of soak in. But yeah, I love philosophy because it's usually simple, basic ideas that can be applied to everything. And I think those are the best ideas that are universal, no matter if you're going to the store, or you're making music, or you're making a movie, or you're just trying to be a better person.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a podcast that I started listening to a few years ago called Philosophize This, and it was like right when I got Spotify, and so I was like, oh, that was really the first, my first actual delving into the, taking it from like a 101 standpoint and actually taking courses on it and things like that. So I like philosophy.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing. I mean, definitely.
Center and
Stoicism's good.
For
Good
sure.
stuff in there. Yeah.
Definitely. Let me see. Oh, where was it? So kind of back to the music. Question is that sick intro they're doing on this current tour going to turn into something?
we
So
said
people
we
like
said
it.
we said we wanted to. We said let's do it.
We've been talking about maybe sketching into a full song.
The idea of it originally came from a section of Clairvoyant that I was listening to in a very sort of strange context of like a funk drummer kind of feel, and I was toying around with those chords, and then we just sort of created a little section out of it to tease some of the chords that happen in Clairvoyant, which we opened the set with. So I guess it could turn into a new song after that, but it was actually born of
Clairvoyant Part
ideas
2.
in Clairvoyant. Yeah.
Part 2, yeah.
That's cool. Another question. What was the subtle connection between Early Grave and Fallout that Eric mentioned?
It's actually very simple, and I guess I'm going to have to answer. It's just in some of the notes of a melody that it happens in different keys, but it's essentially like a root, fifth, and second relationship that happens at the end of both of the songs that I could point out. But if you listen carefully, it happens in the guitars and the keys. Kind of totally unrelated, other than the fact that they're both on the the same EP, and we kind of laughed when it happened naturally, so we left it in there.
Nice. Very cool. Sorry, I'm getting lost in these questions.
That's good.
Great.
There's like, your fans are extremely loyal.
That's awesome.
We were afraid it was just gonna be our girlfriends showing up.
I mean, that's a success. Let's see.
People arguing over what songs.
Yeah. There's been a lot of arguing.
There's a lot of arguing amongst ourselves.
Did we figure out what songs were?
Yeah, honestly, I still don't know.
Yeah, these guys were asking me when they walked in. We still don't know. Exactly. We're still torn between this and that, and
We don't want to put the heat on Machine, but he's the one who chose. So
We just we hope someone can come break the ice. Like
Yeah. Gotta have a tiebreaker somehow.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Planetary Recording asked, which album was the hardest to create, and which one was the easiest?
certainly every album has its easy and hard,
Yeah.
right?
we keep getting better and more natural at, as musicians, that I think it gets easier. But then the stuff that I mentioned before, the songwriting, that it opens up a whole nother can of worms that we didn't go and study. So
Right. Do you find any correlation between how easy or difficult a song is to write as it correlates to its success in the real world?
that's
I find the easy songs to write often are the greater success. But not always, but often. Do you have any
I think we
particular?
would agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
it definitely makes sense.
Turn to Earth was one of the last songs.
Sometimes
written.
it just happens and
Clear
non-overthought
clear
connects.
picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, I could see that. Language was written, or Language 1 was written in the jam space relatively quick. It was the first
Yeah.
song written on that
Yeah.
album.
And it's tricky, man, because like our kind of bands, we're intelligent bands, and we think about the depth and the theory and the math and the melody, and it isn't always the nature of a heavy band to go with the flow, put that away. It didn't come together real quick. We want to work at something. We want to figure it out. We want to crack the code, and inside of that moment, we go deeper into what I call the fishbowl. I mean,
Sometimes
we
you
see the
strip-
world from swimming around with inside.
Sometimes
of it.
you strip all the screws.
One thing I'll say in relation to that is how the guys in this band, like we all to some degree produce music,
Nice.
and we'll all throw ideas out there that can be almost fully produced with a scratch drum beat and keys and guitars and vocal scratch ideas and everything, and so that creates that I feel like that's a to our benefit, and that's an asset in a way, but it also creates this environment where so many different things can get overthought and overworked by any person in the band, and so sometimes that really helps us a lot, and then sometimes you find that it's made a song harder to sort of get on the same page on and sort of complete a collective vision for.
Definitely more of a 1,000-piece puzzle rather than a 500-piece.
But I think overall,
You got more pieces.
I would say it's an asset. It's a feature.
Yeah.
It's a strength of the band.
I'd say the EP was probably the easiest to write, though. It was shortest, so.
Yeah.
One of the songs wasn't even ours. One's kind of a half track.
Do you guys have any mediators outside of the band that you would go to? Other guys in other bands, even girlfriends that you would like when you are struggling over something? There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Just try to get. Did that ever happen?
We have a couple people.
Yeah, we got a couple buddies. I think
Yeah.
I've sent some stuff to Julian before, and
Yeah,
Uh,
that's good.
some guys in my other band, Mark from Nothing More, he'll take a listen to a track. And it's mostly people that we respect as musicians, and like certain tracks, like say Mark, he's in a very well-established radio band. So it's like if we're looking at something where we're trying to be a little more straight down the pipe,
Yeah.
it's something we can show him, and he'll be like, all right, that's cool, maybe this is a little heavy-handed, maybe, you need to nuance this a little bit more, and just stuff like that, because when your face is so close to the painting,
Right.
sometimes you're missing the big picture. And just having those outside influences, because we all have our own tendencies, and sometimes somebody outside can point those out a little quicker than we can.
And I think developmentally, it's important to mention, like, just working with different producers that have come into the situation and got to know the band and got to understand all our sort of musical character. Working with Jamie King was a huge developmental
Yeah.
process for the band. I think we all learned a lot from the years we were all doing that, whether it was Mike and Last Chance of Reason or the Contortionist doing stuff. The guy that we recorded the EP with, this engineer John Douglas, has become sort of helpful with a lot of behind the scenes things as far as like how to approach any technical goal or any sort of recording sort of goal we might have. He's sort of helped us set ourselves up to largely self-produce the record we're working on now.
Nice.
And
Have
so
the technology and know how to use it.
Having a reference like that to go to, be like, man, we're trying to do this. What's out there and what's good? That's been a lot of help too in a more technical sense. So
Yeah, obviously, producers and engineers are probably the biggest part of it. As you know, with being a producer, you're kind of the cat wrangler, where you got to like get all these people that are scattered throughout and get them all in the same area, same ideas.
And earn trust,
Yes, yeah.
or else it doesn't work.
But just to say one more thing, I think these days it's so easy to produce yourselves that people will do it and are able to make a great recording or great songs on their own. But if you look at a producer as an opportunity to have a learning experience like that and to come out of it a more developed package, a more developed band, individually or collectively, we end up getting a lot more out of it that way,
Yeah. Yeah, even like this next record, like deciding not to go with Jamie King for a record wasn't because he's amazing. He's always been a great help to this band.
Awesome. Sure.
It's just doing that forces us to have to change. It puts not
Right.
going to him puts us in an uncomfortable
Yeah.
situation, and therefore we have to make something else happen. So
I know. We should get more questions from.
Yeah, we've got a couple silly ones, couple
Let's do
serious
silly.
ones.
Dump 'em.
Let's do
All right.
silly. Let's try to do a couple quick sillies.
All right, are you guys changing your name to the Contortionist?
If the tour gets canceled, yes.
it depends if any
Become
of
a
us catch it.
Become a live streaming band. That's maybe the future of touring.
I mean,
if we get
you guys should
quarantined-
just move to Austin. and
Family
do it.
like that.
If the band gets quarantined, we live stream the writing of the EP, just right there, just finish it in a month. That's a horrible idea.
I don't know, man. Haven't done it yet. Can't.
We're gonna set up a Patreon and pay to watch me do my laundry or live stream.
All right, is a hot dog a sandwich? Discuss.
No.
No.
Wow, those are really quick numbers.
Classification is counterintuitive.
Well said.
All right, let's see.
I do see the debate with that, though.
Yeah.
How it could be. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's between bread and it's meat,
Yeah.
and you put mustard on it. I'm
Well, a
going.
particle is just a particle unless it's a wave.
I mean, my mind can definitely be changed.
Oh shoot, we can go there.
Just saying. You have to classify it. Classification is not really that important.
Yep.
Unless you need to talk about it.
Which city have you toured in that has the best food, regardless of cuisine?
India.
That's not a city.
Yeah, thank you.
Where were we? Pune?
Particles of particle.
I'll always go with Houston.
Let's see.
Are there any restaurants that stick out in your mind that you're like,
Han
Han
Dynasty.
Dynasty in Philly and it's in Philly and New York.
wow, two automatically?
Yeah, well, we just went there. It was really good. I mean, all major cities kind of have their gems.
Oh yeah, New Orleans is always a hit for us because
Felix is-
yeah, we love seafood, and well, most of us do. So we always go for it when it's time to have a dinner.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Are there like any things that like certain members of the band just like hate that everyone else likes?
Buffalo chicken pizza.
I don't like buffalo. Well, I don't like Buffalo Wild Wings, and these guys love.
I don't like buffalo sauce.
I'm counting myself out of that too.
Well, Jordan and I like Vegemite, but I don't think anyone else would.
Yeah.
Have you had Vegemite properly though? I mean, you should go.
Toast.
You should go toast, butter, and just a thin layer
just
of
a little bit.
Vegemite, just to break yourself. And you don't gob the Vegemite.
I do.
I think that's amazing. Jordan and I did. Took a
I
spoonful.
can eat
We're
Vegemite. I like it. Yeah.
we're filthy.
I love it.
Jacob, let Wolf in.
Got it.
Yeah, you can come in.
All right.
Oh, doggy.
Yeah.
Spirit.
Well, we'll
It's just Max's dog that can't come
Will
in.
he come up the
My dog's allowed to
spirals?
come in.
oh, dang it, man. My dog is way too clumsy. So, what's your guys' favorite? We'll let Wolf come up.
You can ask a question.
Oh, he's good at that.
There he is.
The dog.
What's up, Wolf? So what's up, Wolf? What do you got to ask? Oh, I don't know. It's just that I'm looking for that hot dog I heard about. Is that much, I think? Hot dog and sandwich. It has nothing to do with particles. Just give me
He
one.
knows, he knows.
Thanks, Dad.
Does anyone in the band have perfect pitch?
No. That. I know one guy. Does anyone know anybody with perfect?
I was
pitch?
in a-
I know one guy.
I was in a band
guy.
with a drummer who had perfect.
Oh, really?
Pick the
Okay. Do
worst
we know what
instrument.
perfect pitch is?
Yeah.
Let's say what perfect pitch is, Max.
Oh, I mean, it's being able to identify a pitch. Just,
Not relative pitch.
no, no, just like
Perfect
you hear a
pitch.
tone and you can say, oh,
Yeah.
that's an
Color.
F sharp.
What's the stats on that? Like 1 in millions.
I know
It's-
several
it's
people.
insane.
I know that
You do?
5 to 9 months
Several
when you're a
people?
baby.
I've
That's when
met a
that's when
handful
that
of people over the
formed.
years that have perfect pitch.
Wow,
Yeah.
I know one guy,
Yeah, we-
and he's a drummer, player, guitar player too. But yeah,
Yeah, it was. We used to detune the guitar and have him tell us what chord we were doing and what notes were out, and if they were sharp or flat.
Wow.
Yeah, he's insane.
That's wild.
Yeah.
What's your favorite song to play live? Well, hold on. Let me read this again. What's your favorite song to play live that you guys can all agree on, and which song is your favorite to record in the studio?
All agree on it? That's not happening. Yeah.
Are there any close ones? Like, and who's the odd man out?
We're all the odd men.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It
Maybe
literally,
language.
it literally took us.
Language
No.
might be the most consistent.
Yeah, that
Historically, might be the most consistently unanimous. Okay, but you know, it changes. It changes every week.
This
It
is the one we've been
even-
playing the
even
longest.
on tour. It changes every week.
Oh yeah, it took forever for us to decide what 2 songs we were doing, and it really didn't even get figured out until right before we started rehearsing. So
Yep.
early Grave's been fun.
yeah,
yeah, that song's badass.
Enjoy that.
it's hard to breathe in that one.
Oh yeah,
Honestly,
in between
yeah.
lines.
Yeah,
Yeah.
should have thought about that.
How do you guys distinguish between the brothers?
You can. They look different. Honestly, you spend enough time around them, like it's pretty. Like if I'm doing like a quick take around a room or something, like maybe once in a while I might get it off, but for the most part, there's pretty
Just different pheromones.
pretty distinct differences in facial shape and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you guys are like all brothers, and that's why it helps. It's hard for the outside perspective. You do look quite a bit alike, and
When he cut his hair
And then
before
the-
this tour, yeah.
yeah, it's only slightly different. Dressing alike. That's bullshit.
It's usually not bad until they switch instruments on stage just to fuck with us.
Can you do that?
Before.
Can you guys do that
Whole shows.
effectively?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No.
Whole shows.
We can try.
Stop. Oh my god.
I would break drums and it would be bad.
Okay, fair enough.
So the guys asked a couple of times, what does it mean to be from Indiana or based out of Indiana?
What's the question?
What does it mean, yo?
What does it mean for the band to be based from, or just
He didn't specify.
Where you to be from or based out of.
What does it mean?
So that's better for these.
it means you really enjoy mountains and mountainous terrain.
Are there mountains in Indiana?
There's nothing. That's why you really love mountains.
Particle's a particle.
It means you're always reminding people you were actually born in California.
Exactly.
Which all three of us were.
It means you're a decent, sheltered human being.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Cam's depicting what he envisions himself as.
Always.
That's like back to our philosophy discussion. Like that's a peek into your psyche.
So like, it's like you're really cool and just hip and got your finger on the
Skater
pulse.
guy.
Yeah.
Alright, are you guys going to be putting out a live DVD? They'd love some pro shot live footage. Which, I mean,
we'd love
today.
to do that.
Yeah,
Pro shot
today,
live
yeah,
footage.
Yeah.
You're in luck.
I'm really.
You're a
we're all
band
fond of
that could definitely do a great one of those. Great live DVD.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth eventually doing. Yeah. It'd have
And we
to be
know
like
we're going to be on a nice tour where we can know a specific venue that we're going to really,
or just do a venue for a couple nights.
Yeah.
What city would that make sense to do? What city would you like to do that couple nights in for a recording? A comfortable stage, comfortable city,
Probably
comfortable
Chicago.
vibe.
The best cities for us are New York, Chicago, Dallas, Orlando, and Denver usually, and San Fran and LA. So one of those probably. It's a lot of options. but
Yeah.
those are always when we tour. Those are the best cities for us.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, Regency Ballroom in San Fran would be awesome. It's a beautiful.
That'd be a
venue.
looker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes just certain stages feel so
Yeah.
good to play on, right?
Yeah.
Red Rocks. We'll do it at Red Rocks. That's what we do.
Troubadour was like that.
Yeah.
Just all the legendary artists that have played through there.
Yeah,
Definitely
for
the room
sure.
had a vibe.
What you got, Max? How much time do we got?
We got 5 minutes.
Ooh, 5
So,
minutes to we do.
There's there's a ton of questions that keep coming, and I've already missed some, but I know a lot of bands aren't necessarily plugged in with their fans and their fans' theories, I should say, of like what the songs mean and whatnot. But do any of your songs have a hidden meaning the fans have yet to discover? Like any big Easter eggs maybe? Or?
Well, we did a tour where I kind of laid out stuff, and also we do meet and greets and stuff. So we get asked about lyrics pretty frequently. So I don't think so. Maybe even say a song like All Gray, for instance, was a song that originally it's a song about death, but it originally stemmed from my family dog dying. And it was a golden retriever, and it was a golden retriever, so the idea of all gray, it's the idea that everything golden is gone. So the original line was, as I watch all you were, golden falls into the earth, all gray. So that was the original thing, and then it kind of grew into something that was bigger than just that one instance. So.
Gotcha.
It brings a tear to my eye.
Yeah,
didn't know
that
that.
made me really sad.
Sorry.
Man. We have another question, actually for you again, Mike. Do you have any tips on screaming?
Smoke a lot of cigarettes.
My main thing is if you're gonna scream and you want a really well developed scream, for me, I don't scream in my off time, but I have to prep before tour if I want my scream to be good. I can't just jump up on stage or it's gonna sound terrible. So I have to take the 2 weeks to prep for it, and that's slowly ramping up how much workload my voice can handle. I view it like either running or lifting weights or anything like that. It's a muscle, so it's you kind of overload it for a day, let it rest for a day or two, overload it again, and you just slowly ramp it up. And that's kind of always been my approach. In terms of technique, everybody's got different. There's a lot of singers that do vocal fries. I'm not that guy. I like to scream very aggressively and loud. I think the name in itself says that, scream.
Yeah.
So that's just my general approach in terms of highs and lows and stuff like that. That's just a matter of messing around with your diaphragm and your mouth shape and getting tones and things like that. A lot of things can be dictated by tone. A lot of people mistake tone and pitch a lot of times. So yeah, that'd be a good, quick, general answer in terms of getting a good scream. Ramp it up and stay consistent once you get it where you want it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of singers out there messing up their voices.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you can't scream once every 2 weeks or once a week and expect it to be what you want it to be. It's got to be every day.
Right.
You want to run a marathon, you
Same
run
thing,
every
just
day.
like a muscle.
Yep.
Work it out, feed it, hydrate it,
Yep. Exactly.
and sleep.
Yep.
Just like any sport, any muscle. Max, ask the last question. Pass me the
All right.
computer so you can go down and get the cameras ready.
All right.
What's that time?
Actually, people are wanting you to come back. People want you to come everywhere, but someone just said India, and you guys mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, India was amazing.
India was great.
Any favorite activities to do on tour when you're not actually playing on stage?
Ooh, sleep. I mean, it's
Getting cozy is one of them.
We've been trying to write more when we're on the road, which can be helpful. It's hard though, because you get.
It's really hard sometimes.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't exactly cultivate creativity, but yeah, I personally like to just sit on the bus and watch TV, watch really bad movies and stuff like that.
I got into running a lot. I've done none of it on this tour, but it just helps to get out and get some sun and like see the area and.
That's great,
Find
dude.
a park or something.
I do. That's my thing too. That's my only thing. Just 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Me and Wolf.
Sometimes just going
Run
on a
every
walk
morning,
without
yeah,
an
with my
objective,
teammate.
just like going and
Yeah.
not having a destination, but somehow finding yourself a mile away from the venue, just walking around. That's kind of. I've always remembered those times vividly. Oddly enough, they're nothing. Sweet little nothings.
One more quick question I see on here. Any more covers in the pipeline?
Oh yes.
The 1970s.
Wow.
Absolutely. Cover
Yeah.
Don't say it.
It's
Don't
an
say it.
ongoing list of.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been kicking around a cover tour. Cover tour idea.
I mean, you
We're
gotta
actually starting to agree on some things.
do 90s songs and just do a full set of it.
Just some,
I thought you wanted to do new
2000s
metal.
New metal.
Yeah.
New metal too. I mean, the options are endless. Don't pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah.
We can do whatever the fans want. Honestly.
Just cover Iowa in full. This comes
There
back.
you go.
Yeah.
Would that be considered progressive? Because
The trick is to get another band who's willing to do it another time era, like a different timepiece, like the
Yeah.
80s, 90s,
Yeah.
and then just go out and hit it hard.
it'd be sweet.
Now
Oh, that's interesting.
Now that idea is going to be taken.
You're saying put a tour together.
Yeah, so like we do the 90s.
Yeah.
So we do like Alice in Chains, Smashing Pumpkins. Sound
Yeah, I did a record before You're Strong. That was 90s.
Yeah, and
It
then
explains it all. It's called.
And
That
yeah,
was
and
like-
then say you do like
Yeah.
a band that does the 80s, and they're rocking all 80s.
That's a great idea. All right, let's go. Are you ready to move on downstairs, and we'll cut to
Right.
something else for
Sure.
a minute?
That's right.
Cool.
All right.
All right,
you guys.
fellas.
For the questions.